Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are continuing our coverage of a handful of Week 2 college football games right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. And, you know what to expect from Joe Duffy at this point if you are a regular viewer of ours or if you're a follower of Joe's for his 29 successful years, as a professional handicapper in the business. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much for being back with us.
Well, thank you, Peter. I should be starting year 27, but even before that, I did work part-time in the industry. So 29 is actually about right.
All right. Well, whatever it is, you're obviously a survivor, and obviously you got that way by, by being the real deal. We're going to cover Kansas State and Iowa State right now. Before we get into it, in case anyone is interested in signing up at your site, give a plug for OffshoreInsiders.com.
Yeah, no, we're actually recording this earlier in the week, but I already have 5 NFL and college football plays up for this weekend. They can access the plays before the lines move, and by Saturday and Sunday, I really don't even know exactly how many plays I'm going to have, but I know I'm going to have a few in the NFL that I'm loving. I just want to look a little closer. But at OffshoreInsiders.com, get 27 years of professional handicapping experience.
All right, well, quote some of your records just so people understand what they're getting at your website. How have your premium picks done this year and last year?
Yeah, no, the premium picks, I don't have my precise records. I already admitted that last week, the opening week of college football, was a rare week that I'm not overly proud of. But no, certainly in the 27 years, going back to my score phone days, we've consistently hit in the upper 50%. If we have a bad year, we're usually hitting around 53, 54%. I put in tons of work. Hopefully they see a little bit of that in the videos, and they always get the analysis at OffshoreInsiders.com.
All right, Joe, Kansas State and Iowa State. Kansas State is a 12.5-point road favorite here. Total is 58. And, things are looking pretty bad for Iowa State this year, aren't they? And they lost their top receiver to injury for the year. They got blown out by North Dakota State, who is, of course, one of the best FCS teams. But still, Iowa State was a 6-point favorite, and they got absolutely blown out. And Kansas State is looking like an excellent, machine that's very efficient and just can grind out wins and covers like they have in previous years. I'm not exactly sure how under the radar they'll be. I mean, you can see that by this double-digit favorite spread on the road. They're picked to finish third in the Big 12. They're already ranked in the top 25 to start the year, so they're not really going to come up on anyone and surprise anyone. Still, though, it's hard to justify just based first glance on paper a bet on Iowa State here. It looks like Kansas State is just going to be able to roll over them and probably more likely than not get a cover of 12 points. They do have a big game with Auburn coming up next week, so maybe they're looking ahead. But Kansas State seems to me like the kind of team that isn't very prone to falling victim to a look-ahead situation because they are such a machine. So I would take Kansas State minus 12. What do you think, Joe Duffy?
No, we know that Kansas State is obviously extremely well coached. Well, one of the million-dollar questions, and in this case, literally, I wanted to see how teams, when they look terrible in week 1, is it going to be a case of them regressing to the mean and just getting better? Would it be the case of the public overreacting and then the odds makers know that and then they would have to pay a premium price to bet against them? Or is it more likely to be a case where the odds makers are clearly well behind a team? Because there's always going to be 6 or 7 teams where the odds makers completely miss on, and you can either ride that team or fade that team, whatever the case may be, and make a ton of money. But just about any system I ran, the teams that miss covering by a large margin in week 1 are good go-against plays in week 2. And among the many that apply this week, when you're betting against a home team that's off of a home loss in the first 2 weeks of the season, it's 45-12 against the spread. So that would obviously favor Kansas State. Now, keep in mind, as bad as Iowa State looked, their best weapon, Quentin Bunridge, is going to be out. He had 48 catches last year. He was among the leaders in the country as far as touchdown receptions with 9, that is. Now, this kid, Alan Lazard, who's going to take his place, is supposed to be a stud freshman himself, but keep in mind, he just bumps up. So that means they've got less depth, and you're talking about a team with their best weapon got blown out. This is just a really difficult spot. The Cyclones, they allowed North Dakota State to run for 299 yards. Can they make massive adjustments in just a week? No, as much as I don't like laying a big number on the road, I'm going to have to agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, if Iowa State was going up against maybe a less sort of like impressive, reliable, and solid team than Kansas State, maybe I'd be a little bit more hesitant to bet against them. What about, look-ahead spot? Auburn, obviously awesome team, ranked in the top 5. Huge game for Kansas State in terms of, identifying themselves as an elite team this year. Do you think it's possible that they might suffer a look-ahead, letdown here?
Look ahead is certainly something that I take into consideration, but when you consider the big talent discrepancy, and not only Iowa State, they've got to make it. Even their own coach had said when he watched the game films that the problem with Iowa State wasn't that they were missing tackles on defense. He said they weren't even in good position to make those tackles. So the errors they were making, really, even their own coach admitted that the errors aren't easily correctable, because we have some things that we call that are sometimes lead indicators and lag indicators. And in this case, I don't think that Iowa State was making the kind of mistakes that are very easily correctable. So I think, no, that it's such a mismatch that, yeah, look ahead is always something to consider. But this early in the year, and as much of a mismatch as it is, now that doesn't scare me.
All right, I'm in agreement. Kansas State it is, -12. We'll see where this line closes. Thanks, Joe.